Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
What's poppin'?
Also joining us back from the undead. I don't know. She's fine. She's not sick anymore, guys. The mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
I'm back.
Yay, welcome back.
Chugging that energy drink, I see. She's ready.
She's ready. She's ready to be sick all over again.
It's true. It's fair. But guys, we have a very special guest this week. He's I would say he's the co-pilot of Secret Friends Unite podcast group. Of course, we had Mark on last week, but let's be honest. This is the man you want to see. The man. I've known him for a long time. We started podcasting around the same time. Go way back. The man, the legend, Mr. Todd Oxtra. Hi, Todd.
Wow, this is awesome. Thanks for having me on. I love to see new faces. So great to be here on with the folks I don't know very well, but I assume by the end of this podcast, we'll know each other much better. And then Corey, wow. Yeah, I go so far back with Corey. I think Destiny might be the common thread, maybe?
Yeah, that seems to be the common thread with most people.
Yeah.
You, Matt, the Phoenix Overdrive folks.
Resurrecting. Played with him. That's how I met him on the Destiny Alpha back in the day.
Yep.
And Corey, we had the pleasure of kicking off Nerds Gone Rogue. I think for the first 3 episodes, I was on that show, and then I went on, and you've done so many cool new things, you yourself and Ed, and Tower Casuals, and all the. I mean, you got so many shows, and you're doing such a great job, and I really am just excited to see everything that this group has done. So, kudos to you.
I mean, you guys do a lot too. I mean, you have Secret Friends Unite, you have co-op mode, you have Holocron Chronicles, Code 47. I mean, you guys are doing a lot too. So. Don't sell yourself short there, Mr. Oxtra.
All right, guys. Stephanie and I are definitely missing out on this mutual admiration club here.
Yeah.
LeRon, you're great. Stephanie, you're great too.
Well, I was amazed at the handsome faces, so I am a little bit held back, and the talent in this group is really exciting. So this should be a fun time.
You are too kind.
Todd, how have you been? Like, how's life? I know that your son is doing a lot of things. I know that you're doing a lot of things. How's everything? I mean, it's been a while, I guess. So,
yeah, things are going really well. I am the only one at home now. My son's back at school. He's 16, driving the car. So I ultimately feel like I have to ask him permission to use my car now, which is fun, but he's active. He's a Taekwondo instructor. He plays band and jazz and doing pep band for the football team. So he's highly active, and he's just, a great kid, and he's addicted to Terraria. We just built a new PC, myself and his friend, because my son was too lazy. He just watched us do it, but he funded it. So that was kind of cool. So we put it together. He's got his own space now. And like even yesterday, Mark and I were recording, and he's sitting there playing Terraria while we record. So I'm like, this is where we've come. My wife's doing great, new job. She loves it, helping out the military families. That's really cool. I actually went to a Midwest Emmys award show.
I saw that.
It was very cool. I dressed up, asked people how I should dress, had a bow tie. It looked pretty cool.
Oh, fancy.
It was video game themed bow tie. It was very cool. And then just, we're just having a ton of fun, and Secret Friends Unite is going to hit number 400 in 3 more episodes, and co-op mode hits 100 next episode. So we've actually got a giveaway that actually this is the first time I think we're talking about it. We're giving away a custom Secret Friends Unite Xbox controller. That'll be one of a kind that we're going to give away to celebrate that. So I'm excited to mention it. Mark and I were hammering out the design. I think it looks pretty cool. So very excited to give that away.
Nice.
Damn, good shit.
Nice. Well, Todd, it's great to have you here. Before we do get started on topics and what we've been playing and watching and all that good stuff, we have some Patreon producers to shout out. So if you want to support the Boss Rush podcast and all of our other shows, you can head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where you can support your favorite creators directly. We have 2 monthly tiers, the $1 tier, which grants you early access to 5 separate shows right now, and the $5 tier, which allows you to become a Patreon producer. What does that mean? It means you get early access plus your name shouted out on this segment right here. So without further ado, our Patreon producers for this episode of the Boss Rush podcast are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, my wife, Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. I want to thank all of our Patreon producers. I want to thank all of our patrons, and I want to thank all of our free listeners. Remember, all of our content remains free. You just get a few perks for supporting us. If you are a free listener, we encourage you to go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave us a 5-star rating or a nice review. It really helps with discoverability. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, tell your friends, leave a comment, all those things. And check out our website, bossrush.net. I should probably be promoting that more than I do because I'm terrible at it. So anyways, yeah. Todd, you're our esteemed guest. Are you playing or watching anything fun? Anything cool?
So, I have been playing House of Ashes, the Dark Pictures anthology, because it's Halloween spooky season. We do
Nice.
a lot of spooky stuff, and I'm a big fan of Supermassive games. The Quarry, I wish that had come out closer to the spooky season, but I played that just a couple months ago, and I love Until Dawn, and I just love that spooky feeling, making choices, and realizing I'm bad at it because I'll be lucky if half the team survives, and just really enjoy those games. House of Ashes, if I liked the first, the Dark Pictures anthology, but it wasn't a great game. I missed the second game because I heard it was not very good at all, and I heard House of Ashes actually redeemed itself a little bit. So I'm playing that right now. It's kind of interesting. I'm not good at it once again. They added in like some gameplay mechanics where you actually will fire a gun at points, but it's, get the crosshairs and then pull the trigger. I often forget to pull the trigger because I forget, I actually have to do things. So I have survived by luck. Dumb luck is the best way to put it, but it's fun. Yeah, I was going to play Scorn, but I'm like, I'm not hearing great things about it. It's kind of gross looking, and there's a weird perception about what that game is versus what it really is. I thought it was going to be more like a Dead Space or more of have melee combat and things like that. It sounds like combat is just like very rarely a thing, and it's primarily an adventure game. And just, I don't know. I want to be able to defend myself in a game like that versus feel like I can't because it's kind of a gross looking game. So I don't know. That's kind of where I was at. And I do want to go back to Pumpkin Jack because I think that's just a fun, third person action platformer that I just love. That game. It was one of my favorites last year, but I never finished it. So that's kind of where I'm at now. What I'm watching is a lot of horror films. We do Shocktober on Secret Friends Unite. So we do a horror film every week. We've been doing new and old, and depending on what your feelings are for the Halloween series, we're going to be talking about Halloween Ends this week coming up. We're going to be seeing Sleepaway Camp, so an 80s classic. We saw, Scanners. We watched.
Oh, wow. Classic.
Yeah, because that was something that I've owned, but I've never watched. It's the one with the guy's heads explode. We also watched The Vitch, or Vitch, however you're going to call it, 2 V's. That's a really interesting movie. Then we watched the new Hellraiser, 2022. I've seen the original, and I've seen a bunch of those, but I wanted to watch the new one because my co-host Charlie had not. So that's where we're at. So I am going to see Black Adam. We'll see how that goes. That could be a horror film in regards to if it's good or bad. But yeah, and then we're just talking about. So yeah, that's kind of where my headspace is. Watching a lot of horror things. A really cool thing I recommend for everyone to watch. I love documentaries or people exploring the world of horror films. And right now there's the 101 scariest movie moments, and it's on Bravo, I think, or AMC. And they basically bring on directors, actors, people who talk about film as critics, and just different people. It was funny. Kevin Eubanks from the Today Show, or no, the Tonight Show, where he played the saxophone. I can't remember. He played music with Jay Leno. He even came on. I'm like, okay, I didn't know he was a horror fan, but it's great because they break down all of these diverse movies, and it's like, oh, so it makes a lot of great recommendations of horror films I might have missed, especially older things like from before the 60s. So that's kind of where my head's at right now. I love horror films, and I just finished The Sandman too. That was another one, and that is a great show. And all I would say, if you know, you're thinking, oh, great, another show I have to watch episode 6. It's a standalone. It is amazing. You don't have to watch another episode, and it's awesome. So that's where I'm at.
Nice.
I wonder in that 100. What was it in the 100? What?
101 scariest movies of all time.
Scariest movies of all time. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure not James Cameron. Ridley Scott's Alien is in there. I was here thinking they were talking about the moments, because of course, like the chest burster scene, like the very first one, like that has to be up there with one of the scariest moments in just horror film altogether.
Yeah, they do a great job of picking the 101 movies, and then they'll kind of talk about it as an overall, like Misery was one of them they talked about. They focus though on the scene where Kathy Bates takes that block of wood, and I don't want to do spoilers, but if you're familiar with it, Misery, she's trapped James Caan, her favorite author, and she loves his books, but he crashes, she saves him, and then she finds out he ends up killing off her favorite character in the book, and that goes horribly wrong. And she says, and he keeps trying to escape her, but she keeps getting him. And so the block of wood, she takes his 2 legs and essentially takes a sledgehammer to his legs. Yeah. And they show how they did that. And they had a Greg Nicotero, who actually did the special effects for it, is on there talking about how they did it. So I just love it, the fact that you get someone who explained what they could have done and how they did it. And I think it's great.
2 things. Number 1, thank goodness my books are awful, so I'm never going to get kidnapped. Number 2, where is this again? Because like you'll come to learn in a couple minutes, I'm a big weenie. I can't handle horror. I just can't.
Oh boy.
However, that sounds amazing. I would love to watch something where they would talk about the scariest moments and show behind the scenes. Like that's still intriguing to me. So where is that again? You said was it Discovery? Or am I making it up?
So this is the hard part. There's so many streaming services where it's at. Yeah. I think it's on AMC Plus, which you do get Shudder. I think it's actually on Shudder, which if you sign up for AMC Plus, you get AMC Plus Shudder. And Shudder is just a horror service, and it's got some awesome stuff. But it's about $6 a month, and I think they typically offer like a trial of like 7 days for free. So you could knock this out in a week because it's 10 episodes in 40 minutes, essentially. Okay. So you can knock it out. So just subscribe for free, watch that, maybe a few other things, and then just cancel.
Oh, so they technically don't show the actual, like, they don't show, like, the gore.
No, they do. And they
drop.
Yeah, so it's definitely, what I found is if you're a little squeamish, kind of pay attention to the screen, but listen. So, like, look away if you need to, but listen to what they're saying. And then if you can look, and then look away.
I can do that. I can do.
I am terrible at gore.
Yeah. It's got some gory moments. It does.
It's something about simulated gore, you know, like in like movies and TV that it just messes with me because like I was watching the show 911 that comes on Fox. Like that's basically like, you know, like, it's basically a disaster show, you know, because it's all about like first responders and stuff. And there, and like in a recent episode, like this father and son are playing golf on the golf course, and there's a wood chipper nearby, and of course a ball winds up in the wood chipper, and it's like the lucky ball. So like they go in to get it, and the son reaches in with his hand and is like, well, we see him look, he sees the ball inside there.
No.
And the camera goes to his face for a second. I'm like, all right, oh hell no, and stuff like that. So of course he sticks his hand in there. I'm not gonna ruin this. I'm not gonna ruin the scene for anyone that's seen it, but it goes not exactly.
Which movie was that?
This is a TV show, 911.
That
comes on Fox.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like it goes not the way you think it's gonna go, and trust me, it still makes you squeamish.
So I just dropped a link. You can actually watch this on Amazon Prime. I think you can pay for it or something or whatever. But the first episode's free. So it's episode 101 through 88. So it's there. Check it out and see if you like it.
Wait, that looks like Tony Todd.
So Tony Todd's in there. There's a
Yeah.
guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's different people that are in these episodes, and they have like somebody different for each movie, and they bring back different people. It's a great discussion. I just think it's awesome. Yeah. And they're short. They're like 45 minutes per episode. So they hit a lot of movies. They don't spend too much time, and you get to learn a little bit about them, and then you find a movie that's definitely not for you or a movie that could be for you.
Neat. I will pass. 'Cause that's me.
Because he's also a weenie.
I am.
What else are you going to watch with the kids, Corey? Come on.
I mean, Daniel Tiger gets pretty crazy. Okay, so let's see, Stephanie, what are you playing? You said
Not much.
You said you're a big weenie, so what's going on?
Well, remember how I described I was playing Ikai last week, and I have not returned to it since. So, but I will. I just reluctantly, begrudgingly, I don't want to finish it, but I'm stubborn like that. Like even if it's a terrible game, I personally feel the need and urge to finish games for the most part. So I hope to return to Ikai eventually. But until then, all I've been really playing, oddly enough, is Super Mario 3 on the NES on Switch. My son is obsessed with watching me play it. So every day he's like, "Mommy, can you play Super Mario 3?" He actually generally picks that game over Splatoon 3 that I got him. For Mario Kart 8, which he's been playing for weeks. All the other games that he's been playing, he's like, Super Mario 3!
Stephanie, just blow his mind and do the infinite one-up trick one day for him.
Oh, yeah. So
just blow his mind.
To be fair, Mario 3 is a great game.
It is. I was like, good choice. And I'll admit, I do like the rewind feature because though I love video games, I am not talented at playing them. So every time I die, or even now I'm a bit spoiled. If I have a power-up and I don't want to lose the power-up, I just furiously rewind, and my son at that point gets so impatient. He goes, "Oh, Mommy, stop rewinding."
Just save state it.
Anyway, but that, I know it's kind of short, but that's really all I've been playing. I'm getting I keep saying Super Mario. That's all that's on my mind. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
That comes out tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, tomorrow's a stacked day.
Okay.
You got
BF, if you're listening to this live stream, I pre-ordered it in your town, and you're gonna have to pick it up and bring it to me Friday because I'm playing it immediately. Thanks.
Actually, I'm sorry. Tomorrow's not the stack day, but yeah, tomorrow is the Mario Rabbids day because the 21st is the day.
Day. So even though that's not much to report, but I was busy doing this and other stuff, kind of getting my room more fun.
Oh, looks good.
Thanks. So that's it.
You forgot to mention something.
That I played something? Oh my gosh! How could I forget? So we played Monster Hunter with LeRon. And it was really funny. I took a screenshot and I sent it to LeRon because it shows our three steps of my name, or Torin is my character, level 1. My boyfriend, level 3. And LeRon's like level 500 something. 500 rank or whatever. And it was really sad but hilarious. But
it was fun though. Hopefully I didn't make it. Hopefully I made it kind of easy for you guys to jump into, because you guys have been playing. I'd seen that, but I know just based on the amount of questions and stuff, I figured you guys needed some help. Just trying to get your legs about you.
First of all, you had the patience of a saint, so thank you. And number 2, the way you were just like a tour guide, as if I was visiting from another state or country, and you were just taking me on a tour there, because it actually made me more intrigued and interested to keep playing Monster Hunter and not to get discouraged. When you go here, you do this, and you do this, you don't need to do that. And it's not just you coming in and helping beat monsters for me, because as you know, The server dropped.
We were getting really, something was going on with the servers that night because it was just dropping and like it was getting to the point where everybody was like getting dropped out of the game.
Yeah, it was fun. We tried to fight a larger monster like
first time it's ever happened.
3 or 4 times, and that's when I was like.
Yeah, we tried to fight. Yeah, we tried to fight the same monster. I was like, it was urgent. Like it would have got you the hunter rank too. So we were trying to get that done, and we just couldn't get it done fast enough. I guess it's like I guess the server is like, nah, they're beating on this guy too much. She needs to stay HR1 for a little bit longer.
Still itty bitty level 1, but that's why I say thank you for your patience, because even though I sounded frustrated, it really was a lot of fun. Again, minus glitching out. Yeah. I also was frustrated too because I used my dock for my Steam Deck for the first time, and I mean the dock like worked, but probably because it's a third-party dock. I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll get the Valve one. The way it projected. That's not the right word. I'm sorry. I'm not technologically savvy. It just looked horrible. It looked like it took a tiny image and just stretched it real big, so I could see like little strike. It just was horrible image quality.
Is that the first party Steam Deck dock?
No, it's not. It's a third party. It's J something. But it's a third party.
Doesn't the Steam Deck only run in 720p? Isn't that like its
thing?
I
don't think it up-reses like the Switch does to your TV. I think the max you get, I think that's a big inherent problem with the Steam Deck is you are going to be limited to the Steam Deck's display versus your display you're putting it on, regardless of your dock.
Oh, okay. Well, that's helpful because I'm like, oh, maybe I should have gotten that. Okay.
So if anything, I'd say hook it up to a PC monitor instead.
Yeah. So
change the resolution maybe.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the snob here. Like Nintendo Switch is one of my primary consoles, and that's not got like the best graphic like versus PC and PlayStation. But I don't know, it was just difficult, and trying to pair it with another controller, it was just a bit of a mess. I probably should not have been experimenting when I was playing Monster Hunter with LeRon.
It's all right. It's all right. Nah, I'd rather you like get all those kinks ironed out like while we're playing. That way, like like once we really sink into it, like it's definitely the experience you want it to be at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding me that Good.
My co-host just started playing Monster Hunter. I was really surprised he did because I didn't expect that to be his type of game, but he seems to be enjoying it. I think it's because he plays it with his brother. So I think he's playing the new one on Switch.
Okay. Yeah. Rise and Sunbreak. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's playing that one. So.
Yeah, like the level of entry, the entry point for Monster Hunter is has gotten it's gotten nice, now. I just hear more and more people are playing Monster Hunter. It makes me happy because I've been playing the game for nearly 20 years, and it just makes me happy to see there's more people playing it because like this is a game used to get unfairly reviewed because no one understood it.
Yeah, I would like to try it one day. I'll get there. One day, maybe. I got like 800 other things to play first, though.
Corey's holding playing Monster Hunter hostage until I play Destiny with him. That's what's going on.
That's not true. I have enough people to play Destiny with. I would like you to play Destiny with me, but I'm not gonna, make you.
Like I said, I'm just afraid if I start, then I'm gonna wind up being one of those people that's always got to buy the expansions and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm. And that's what happens.
Yeah, I can't be spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on season passes.
Oh, well, lucky for you, LeRon, the season pass is only $10 each season.
Yeah, but $10? That's it?
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit higher than that. Like most season passes are usually $25.
Nope.
I just play the expansions for the story content, and then I walk away slowly as my son says, "Dad, you should really do stuff with us." And I'm like, I just don't have the time. I used to do that. I just don't have the time. I never am at level cap. Yeah.
It's like Destiny is like you either play Destiny or you play everything else at this
exactly.
point.
I play it for the story, which very few people do.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now is like I actually kind of backed off a little bit because I did this season's story just wrapped up and it's getting into the dumb Halloween stuff, which Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna wear the mech armor. I'm gonna get the mech armor and try it on and put a red and blue shader on it and pretend I'm Optimus Prime for about 10 minutes. But after that, I'll be not playing for a little bit. It's break time. It's break time. Until December 3rd, it's break time. So, is that it, LeRon? Is that?
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Like all I've done, all I've had time to do is play Monster Hunter, and it hasn't really been that much. Like if Stephanie and her boyfriend hadn't said, "Hey, we're playing Monster Hunter tonight," I probably wouldn't even play it that night. But I was like, "Oh, really?" No, I get excited when friends want to play Monster Hunter with me, because like normally I'll just get in there, like sink in a couple of missions, and honestly, right now the one thing I have been doing when I do turn on Monster Hunter is I'm just messing around with a whole bunch of different weapon and armor builds and stuff like that, because what people may not realize with Tile Update 2 is they really want you to lean into like elemental builds. And elemental, just for people that don't know, what's like there's two ways to play Monster Hunters. There's raw damage and there's elemental damage. Basically, every creature has like an element they're weak to. It's either fire, water, ice, thunder, or dragon. And for the longest time, well, in the original Monster Hunter game, like back in 2004, like there were monsters that, we definitely catered more towards their elemental style, their elemental weakness, because like some monsters are just doggone hard back in the day. I mean, like all the monsters are hard, honestly, if I'm talking about it. But as more games came out, like there was a bigger emphasis towards raw, because it seemed like element wasn't really doing that much. But Title Update 2 for Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak, like, man, like they are leaning heavily into like element damage and stuff like that. So like, and there's monsters now, like their builds, like when you get their parts and start crafting weapons off of them and stuff like that, like they have like this insane amount of elemental either attributes or elemental like properties and stuff like that, and it's crazy. So like I've been jumping in there. I've started messing around with weapons that I don't even play with. Like I made a lance, and I never played the lance in like all 18 plus years the game has been out and stuff like that. Like I'm just screwing around. Like I made a hammer set the other night. So probably next time you guys play with me, you guys see me in there for a big ass club, like bashing things in the head.
Nice.
And I've gotten back into gunning. I've made a whole bunch of guns now and stuff like that in Monster Hunter. So yeah, like I think I'm in it now. I think I'm starting to have fun now.
They have guns in Monster Hunter?
Yeah, they've got two styles. They've got two styles of guns.
Wow.
They've got light bow guns for people who they need their mobility, and they've got heavy bow guns for people who just want to just go in there and just wreck shit.
Interesting. People got tired of swords, so they threw guns in there.
Oh, guns have always been around.
I know. I'm just messing with you. Don't worry. Guns got boring in Destiny, so they put swords in there. So
for real?
Yeah.
They put grappling hooks. Aren't those coming too, Corey? When I saw the new expansion, I'm like, there's some cool stuff coming in Destiny, and they're playing in a city, which is just kind of cool too.
Yeah, it's.
I think they did that.
Neomuna is it's a city that the humans didn't really know about on Neptune, and the new power is called Strand, and it has a grappling hook. So we'll see how that goes. And it's not.
I think they did that to appease like because there was a time when like Destiny was in a drought, and like a lot of Destiny players were jumping into Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, it was when Forsaken came out, and then the rest of that year was like pretty bad, and then Shadowkeep was also pretty bad. So everybody was like, let's play Monster Hunter because people seem to like that game.
So and in Monster Hunter World, like they just introduced this mechanic called the grappling hook and the clutch claw and stuff like that. So I think they just kind of like are trying to appease people who had been exodus to Monster Hunter and then infiltrated back to Destiny when Destiny got more palatable.
Yeah, Season of Arrivals is about when people started coming back to Destiny, which was the season before Beyond Light expansion came out.
Yep, and that was like a couple of months before the Iceborne expansion came out. So like all my buddies who were Destiny, who were hardcore Destiny, like I lost all of those when Iceborne came out, and I was like, Screw y'all. I'm playing the PC version now. Like I jumped from PS4 straight to PC.
That's funny. I haven't really been playing much, shocker, but I have been watching Andor. I finally started watching Andor.
Is it over?
No.
Has it ended?
No. It's like, it's like
It's
12,
12 episodes long.
12 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, they're only trying to do one season, huh?
I think
Yeah.
6 episodes.
They're doing a second season as well. The first season was year
Wow.
1. The second season, I believe, is 5 years later.
Okay,
Yeah,
here I was
and it's
thinking,
I
here
think
was thinking.
the second season covers a longer span of time too, so I think the second season is going to be 18 episodes. I think they said something around there.
Damn, they're starting to go all out.
Yeah, so I really like Andor, which is
They only gave us a piddly ass 6 episodes of Obi-Wan. How dare they?
I know, but I finished She-Hulk as well.
What did you think of that finale?
Look, I don't.
No.
This is one of the Marvel things I just don't care for, and that's okay. That's okay. Moving on.
You're being nice.
I am being nice.
You're being nice, damn
I'm
it.
practicing being nice.
Because the last 10 minutes of the She-Hulk finale almost ruined the fucking series for me.
The thing
like
is,
the series was great, until 33 minutes into the finale.
The thing is I turned the finale on, and I was like working on something else, and I looked up, and it was over. I'm like, what happened in this finale? Like I'm like, what happened in this finale?
That too.
I was like,
I'm trying to be nice, but there's one thing I'm gonna say is like, look, like we see it a lot online about like how people accuse the writers of being lazy, and I am finally on the lazy writer train. Like it,
Oh, really? I actually completely disagree.
Oh, with the finale for She-Hulk?
Yeah, because I think the lazy was where they were going until they did the thing. Because I'm like, yeah, that's Marvel do. They give the guy the power, they battle it out. And then the other way is, nope, they're going full in on the meta and doing crazy things that I never expected. And the fact that they got Kevin Feige on blast and said, yeah, Kevin, you do all these shitty things. And they actually addressed it. I'm like, that's brilliant.
Actually, I appreciated that. It was just that maybe
Spoilers
I'm one of those
for She-Hulk,
fans.
I guess. By the way, guys.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe I'm one of those fans because I don't know, and maybe this speaks to the type of person I am when it comes to like MCU stuff, because I do appreciate the formulaic stuff, but I also like when they step outside. And I already thought that She-Hulk was stepping outside. She was breaking the fourth wall way too much, and I was like, but I was like, this is a shtick, because I knew this from the comics. I did not know that like the finale for She-Hulk, the season 1, parodies and mirrors the finale for the comic book. I did not know that until after someone had told me, and I was like, okay, I appreciate that now. But that being said, like, what?
Yeah,
I said WTF when I was watching it. I'm like,
yeah,
what is going on
I was like, the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, and I was just like, okay,
AC?
this is the way we're going now, I guess.
Now
I'm just like,
the crazy.
The thing is like, I can't believe, like, I like when they try to do something different, but I'm like, you're telling me this show is some sort of pseudo sequel to like Winter Soldier and Iron Man and all these other shows or movies and stuff.
This show is setting up World War Hulk.
I know
that's
what
it's
setting up. And
it's setting up World War Hulk, and it's setting up the Thunderbolts.
By the way, Harrison Ford really Thunderbolt Ross? Is that real? Is that story real?
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
Oh my gosh.
That's real.
It makes sense to cast an 80-year-old person in a role where you just lost William Hurt, who passed away of illness. Yeah. Now you're like another person. It's like, how many movies can Harrison Ford be in? It just really doesn't make sense, especially if you know Thunderbolt Ross, where he goes in the comics, he becomes Red Hulk. Spoilers for the comic. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. But I do feel like, Corey, it's more like we're going to get Deadpool and She-Hulk just team up, because that's what they both do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It feels like, man. By the way, I'm actually pretty excited for Deadpool 3. I know that for some reason on the internet that seems to be an unpopular opinion, but Look, if Hugh Jackman does not get to wear the suit from the Wolverine deleted scene, I'm going to be upset. You're telling me this guy played this character for 23, 24 years and never got to wear the Wolverine suit? Come on. So
It's time.
Yeah. So, and it's the brown one too, the cool one.
Oh, my favorite. Tan on brown. Nothing says fashionable like that, but it's my favorite.
Yeah. No, man, it's the one from I like it the best because it's the one from the arcade game, and that was kind of like my first exposure to the X-Men. So,
And if he's going to blend into the elements, it goes better than blue and yellow.
Yeah.
For me, the jury's kind of out on Deadpool 3. I'm excited that it's coming, but I'm not excited enough to say, I'm running straight to the theater on day one for it.
I'm not going to the theater. I don't go to the theater. I'm waiting for.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know.
You know what I mean. Because I don't really go to theaters that much either.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, but yeah, I'll say this one thing about She-Hulk, and then we can move on. I had not seen Miss Marvel yet, and this kind of hurt me from seeing it now.
No, Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel's great.
It's. I would put it at like maybe my second or third favorite MCU show right now.
Behind Loki and WandaVision?
No, behind WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't like Loki.
That's right. It's
I know that's unpopular opinion, but I didn't really care for Loki.
No, that's our boy Mark that likes Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm also with you with WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I just got through rewatching Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like God, and you know what? It still hits me in the feels when I get to the finale. I was like, oh my God, like damn, like this it's a powerful show. I mean,
yeah. It was the
show. At least for me.
It was. I mean, I think as much as Black Panther was like a time and place thing, right? Like in very culturally significant. I feel like Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the story that needed to be driven home, and it was very important. I feel like that story was more important than the cultural relevance of Black Panther, if that makes sense.
I agree.
Again, this is a white guy saying this, so maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb.
Well, no. I'm picking up what you're putting down because, like, in all honesty, like, whereas Black Panther, you know, like, was like a thing for like, you know, like for Black culture.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and Winter Soldier is more a thing for Black American culture, and that's two completely different spectrums. Like they're two different monoliths. If we're gonna use like a fancy word, you know, a buzzword, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, like, you know, like the way you cater to your audience matters and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Because kind of like what we do here at Boss Rush.
Because like when the Winter Soldier first came out, like actually probably when First Avenger came out, I was like, oh man, Bucky, cool. That's going to be like some sort of transition because Sebastian Stan wasn't like a huge actor at the time, right? Like, I mean, he had come off some CW stuff like Gossip Girl and some other things, right? But like now, you know, I was like, oh well, if this movie does well and he's a great actor or whatever, and Winter Soldier came out, like if he's a bigger actor by then, he'll probably just transition into Captain America when Chris Evans does his 3 and out. But again, we didn't really know what the MCU was going to be at that time anyway, too. But I don't know. I'm really excited. I think for the next Captain America movie. I want to see how that goes.
Me too.
I would have preferred the Falcon and Falcon and Bucky that TV show be a movie. I feel like Marvel really struggles with their episode length, and I feel like their plotting and their pacing is really funky. It's like we're gonna waste 5 episodes and do some things in character. I totally get that, but it's like we've got this big climax, and we're gonna do really a half-assed job. And we're going to probably not develop the villain enough because I really didn't buy the villain in the series too much. The Johnny Walker thing I totally get because that was a cool part. The Flag Smashers felt delivered. And I felt like they've justified everything they did. And they said, it's okay, though. And like there has to be some saying, that's not right. And I totally get that. And there's some feels about standing up to injustice. It just seemed like they didn't spend enough time to do anything except for the last 15 minutes when we had Falcon essentially, as he ascended to Captain America. That was the justification point, and that to me felt like, if they had better paced it, I think they could have nailed all those things in a more impactful 2 hours than they did at 6. And it felt like, so I'm hoping Marvel, and I think you saw that with Armor Wars going as a movie. I think they realized we've got to balance out what is a series and justifies it versus we just need a lot of stuff on Disney Plus. So I'm glad they're doing that. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut off because I like this discussion.
No. This is a wonderful discussion, actually. Because like I also feel like there's a formatting problem with these MCU TV shows and stuff like that, because WandaVision comes out, and WandaVision was what, 11 episodes?
I don't think it was that long.
It was 9. I think it was 8 or 9.
It was
right?
9. Okay. So Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out and it's 6, and I was like, what? Like I thought WandaVision was setting the tone, for all this stuff. Loki was 6 or was it 5? Like Loki was short. Like
it was
honestly,
6, I think too.
It was 6, yeah. What else do we have? I know I'm missing something. Moon Knight was how many? 8.
8.
It was 6. Was it 8? Oh,
yeah, I think it was 8.
That was way too long.
Way
too long.
I didn't care for Moon Knight either, though.
Kamala Khan was how many? I haven't watched Moon Knight either.
Only 6. Yeah, Miss Marvel was 6. Yeah.
Okay.
So they have weird pacing, and then like we said, and then Star Wars is all over the back.
And She-Hulk is 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it just feels like, I'm all for like, okay, not every show needs to be 8 episodes, but like pick a lane,
No,
I guess.
The OCD part of me, I need stability. Like I come from an era of television where TV series ran 24 to 26 episodes long. So like, can we have some stability here?
Yeah, like Smallville would like there would be 8 core episodes, and the rest of it would be like filler for the whole season.
Well, if you have good TV, there's no such thing as filler.
Yeah. Well, CW
that's
have
very
good
few.
TV.
I was gonna say that's very few and far between these days.
Yep.
I think Battlestar Galactica was the first real serious drama, like sci-fi, that had a limited number of episodes, and they really made every episode count. And
So we'll see. What MCU show is even next? What is next? I don't even know. I'm not even.
Oh yeah, don't ask.
Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, but Werewolf at Night. If you've not watched it,
I have not watched that yet.
Phenomenal, and I hope Marvel does more one-shots that are great.
I have not watched that yet. I feel like I need to watch it before the weekend ends this week.
Here's the thing. Speaking of the Guardians holiday special, I'm going to Disney World in a couple weeks, and apparently the ride is MCU canon. The Guardians ride is MCU canon.
Okay.
No spoilers, Corey.
Yeah. No. And I guess they pick obviously the ride's going to have a soundtrack, and they pick it like it's a different song every time you ride it, apparently, or something. So side tangent, I guess. Man, that was a good discussion. I was happily surprised with that. I do like Andor though a lot. Going back to that, I thought the first episode was kind of slow, but once you realize that it's not like it's not really like the other Star Wars shows, you're just kind of like, oh, okay. It's more of like a war show. I think it's definitely not for kids, I would say. So
I dropped it after 5 episodes.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on episode 5 right now. I like it. I didn't like the first episode, so I don't know. Maybe after 5 or 6 episodes, maybe I won't like it, but so far, it's good.
They're doing the thing, Corey, every 3rd episode something happens. Because nothing happens in 5, nothing happens in 4. 6 is once again something happens.
Okay,
I don't know.
What is the fascination with Star Wars and this whole trilogy thing? Like, it really pisses me off. It really pisses me.
Why don't you ask Kathleen Kennedy?
They're the ones that started it.
Hold on. Don't name drop her like that, because remember how like every misogynist douchebag was like coming for her on social media? Don't name drop her like that, without something credible to back it up.
She's the one that said that the Skywalker last 3 movies were a trilogy. It should have been 4 movies. That last movie should have been 2.
Should have been 4.
Yeah, it should have been. They should have split that last movie into 2. Not that it would have fixed anything,
or maybe they should have planned out the entire storyline better.
Also true. I mean, that's also true, but
or actually stuck to a plan and had the different directors they actually chosen versus like firing a director and saying, "Okay, we're bringing JJ back." Or their plan was erratic at best.
We should have had the same director do all 3 movies. I think they should have just done that. They should have just done that. It was in my opinion.
Star Wars has a horrible track record of not being able to stick to a game plan because essentially they're very scared of upsetting a fan base. You see that never go back to the original trilogy. They're like, they're off limits. We can't touch them, but we'll stick to the Clone Wars. We'll do that because we'll go there because we can do whatever we want because it's all made up. Nobody knows, and we'll add on to the canon. But you've never seen Mark Hamill, like Leia, Luke, and Han. You have nothing in their prime that's canon or we've seen since, and nothing is planned, which is just very disheartening for those of us like LeRon and I, who that's what we grew up with, and it's like we love them so much. And it was essentially, no, we aren't going to talk about those anymore, but you can get 85 million seasons of these old prequel characters, and we're going to keep doing that.
Or after you. No, like most of the stuff is just prequel stuff.
Can we just get a new era of Star Wars that's like in the way distant future or the way distant past? Like
supposed to get with the New Republic or the High Republic, but they haven't done anything with that yet. And the Acolyte is supposed to be the first thing that is like 100 years before. But yeah, that's about it. That's all we know. That Rogue Squadron stuff.
I still feel like 100 years is too soon because Yoda's going to be in it. Yoda's going to be there.
If y'all want a good series of Star Wars, like make a series based on like a faction of the Sith.
KOTOR. Embrace that, right?
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Where's my Revan movie? Gosh, man, still the best twist in all of Star Wars, I think. Unless you were there to see, I guess the Darth Vader twist, I guess would probably be the biggest one. But since then, spoilers.
I was a kid in the theater, not realizing the weight of no, I'm your father. I remember going to see Empire Strikes Back with my dad in theaters, and it didn't click until we finally got it on VHS. And VHS was years later from the actual movie release.
Yeah.
And the reason why those movies are so ingrained in us is because that's all we had. That's all we thought we would get. And essentially George Lucas stepped away from filmmaking for about 15 years. So
what we want to be serious about is George Lucas is also a hack. So there's that too.
He's great when it comes to tech and advancing the technology, but
he has great ideas. He needs somebody to harness those ideas.
Yeah, and that's when he divorced his wife, and that's when he basically brought on the yes men. But you think about his peers, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, those other creators honed their craft. They became better directors, partnered with really quality people. And then you saw what George Lucas did was essentially not direct again, not do anything. And he essentially said, I'd rather make money off toys. I'd rather focus on the money and the technology, which we have ILM for. And that story of ILM that's on Disney Plus, highly recommend that. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot to this. So, and all I hear is this cool stuff. And I'm thinking, man, you guys should come on all these other shows, because Holocron Chronicles, as I call it, the Holochronicles, but they won't let me call it.
Well, I feel like
the Star Wars podcast.
They really missed on that one.
I appreciate my genius.
I do, Todd. I think it's great.
I feel like I'd be woefully I'd be out of my element on the Star Wars show. I love Star Wars, but I'm a bigger Trekkie than I've ever been Star Wars. Like, because I get people that tell me about all this extended and B canon for Star Wars, and I was like, if it's not on television, on a movie screen, I feel like I don't care.
Yeah.
Or video games.
Stephanie, is that are any of this for you, Stephanie? I mean, you're very quiet, so either you're basically saying, boys, talk about this, or you're like, I could care less about this, or...
No, I like both Star Trek and Star Wars. I just, whether it's time or whatever, I just don't have the opportunity or have watched everything. Historically, my dad was a Trekkie. Is a Trekkie, I shouldn't say he's in the past tense. In fact, once he took me to Las Vegas when I was a tween, like 12 years old, and there was this like Star Trek.
Yes.
You went to the Vegas experience? Oh my
I've
God.
been
Like,
there. That place
I
was
have never
awesome.
been there.
I was personally terrified, but I get like now if I went, it'd be awesome. But back then, I'm like, why are these mother lovers following me? Dad, we're gonna die. He's laughing and having a great time, and I'm petrified. I got to experience that.
And it's gone, Stephanie. So you lucked out.
Yeah. You got to experience something that I will never be able to experience.
She's like, well, did I?
And I did when I was younger. I would watch like the OG like first couple seasons of Star Trek. I saw like the two of the newer movies, the first two of the newer movies. But then like when they started splitting up to like the shows and stuff, that's where I'm like, not that I'm no longer interested. Like my bandwidth to do and watch and or play anything is so limited that I can't even watch shows that I'm even passionate about. And then as far as Star Wars, I just can't keep up. Like I have watched the majority of the movies. I do have a love in for it. I follow it, like I know the story. I've seen, like I said, most of the movies. But like again, now all these shows are coming out too, and I'm just like, I can't keep up. So a lot of this has been educational.
Well, what I will say about now with what we consider the modern era of like Star Wars and Star Trek, for example, like you can pick like they've set a lot. Well, not Star Wars to a certain extent, but Star Trek for real. Like they've set it up to where anyone can kind of like jump in and not have to be too bogged down in pre-existing canon. Like because like Star Trek is kind of insidious now. Like you start watching a random show and then you eventually want to see how we got to this point. You know?
I mean, I don't mind. Like I have enough Star Trek history, for example, that I'm lucky to have a little bit of that history. But and you know what I think is another factor, and it's purely my fault. And I don't know how I have this mentality. I feel like I have the personality of a curmudgeon-y 85-year-old man, but I'm like, none of this new age garbage is good as the original stuff. And that's
my God.
Part of my resistance to watching the new Star Wars show, the new Star Trek shows. I'm like, oh gosh, it's not.
The one thing I will say for sure about the new Star Wars, especially the TV shows and the movies, is like we needed it. Like it needed a facelift so bad. Like storytelling is kind of all over the place, and also at the same time, like it's hard to find a jump on point with any of the new Star Wars stuff because like it's too ingrained in canon. Like it wants you to know what the other stuff was before, or the other stuff that surrounds it and stuff like that. So yeah,
Star Trek Strange New Worlds, though, for a new viewer, is the perfect jumping on point.
It is
because
amazing.
I feel like you don't have to know anything about Star Trek to jump in because it's not tied to anything, quite honestly.
Yeah, like I was surprised how much I like Strange New Worlds, and I tell people because Star Trek Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek series, but Strange New Worlds is like getting ready to knock it off the mountain.
It's the best first season of a TV show I've seen in a long time.
Yes, yeah.
I have a confession about Star Trek. I've only ever seen the reboot movie.
The JJ movies? That's perfectly fine, Corey.
No, just the
You're
first
allowed.
one. Just the first one.
Just the first one?
Yeah. Corey doesn't.
And I really liked it, and I was like, "Oh man, this is really good." And then I never proceeded to see the other.
Watch the third one. Skip the second.
Skip the second. Thank you.
Idris Elba's a great villain. He's really good. It's a good movie. The second one is just like, nah, they failed. But yeah, go watch. Take an afternoon. Watch Star Trek, whatever it's called.
Star Trek Beyond. Star Trek Beyond. God.
Good. It's even got the Beastie Boys in it, I think, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Sabotage was in the first one.
It's like the theme for
Intergalactic, wasn't it? Wasn't it Intergalactic? Was in there?
Sabotage.
Oh, Sabotage. That's funny. Yeah. Good times.
Great song, by the way. Sabotage. It's a good one.
Yes. Great video.
Man, that was a hefty topic. Todd, you are our guest tonight. Do you have another topic for us to discuss?
Wow. Yeah, because I, like many people, were probably really interested about the Silent Hill live event.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to think because Konami is such a polarizing company. You're like, are they really want to be in games? Do they just want to do pachinko machines and fitness centers? What are they doing? They've essentially killed Metal Gear. They sometimes put out a collection every once in a while, but we don't really know what they're doing. So we've heard all these rumors about Silent Hill coming back, and most of the things we thought is actually happening. But then they said, guess what? We're not just going to do games. We're going to do a movie again.
Yeah.
Come back and make a movie. We're going to show you like all these collectibles. So I'm like, they came strong, and I'm like, wow. It's amazing that it's almost like a renaissance for a brand that has been largely forgotten since like 2007. So I'm wondering, from that lens, what are the other like almost like you think of like forgotten, languishing IP that are out there? Like now it's time for those to shine because remakes, reboots, reinventions. You've seen what Resident Evil has done with kind of like their remakes, plus they're also mainline games, and they've done such a great with like care of their franchises. I'm like, Konami's essentially doing that: new franchises, reboots, remasters, and taking the IP. And I'm like, where else would you all want to see like that care of bringing back what you loved and bringing it back to today's standards and actually make it even better than it was before?
Really great that quickly that you brought up, Resident Evil. Maybe that's kind of where they got a little bit of the nudge, like, okay, if they're successful, we can too. Because I want to preface, I've never played a Silent Hill game. Again, I am a weenie.
How would you? I mean, they haven't had a way to play a game since like maybe the Wii U or maybe Wii.
True. But I know so many Silent Hill fans. They are very, like, been waiting and just being teasers. That meme where, with James Sutherland, where he's looking in the mirror, but it's actually clown makeup. I was so excited for these fans and some of my friends that I tuned into it live, and I've never played the game before. And I'm happy that I'm living through this renaissance of remakes, because even if not franchises, I know another one that's coming up that I've never played before and will play because now I have the opportunity, especially on a better platform, is Dead Space. That's kind of like another one. But
that's why one thing I will say is like we're getting a rebirth of like survival horror, especially and I'm kind of here for it because like survival horror got old and stale for me after a while. I'm not the biggest Silent Hill fan because like I'm team Resident Evil from the old school days. Like I want my games to reach out and scare me, not fuck with my emotions. And that's what Silent Hill did. Like it played with your emotions. Like it was more of a psychological game. And I'm like, look, I don't want the game to fuck with me. I don't want the game to like do that thing whereas like I sit down, after I've turned the console off and I still have the shakes, I want it to scare me and do its thing, and stuff like that. But yeah, like I can't believe that, like Konami's like, if Konami is true to their investment on this thing, like it's going to be wonderful, especially the fact that we're getting a full-fledged like Silent Hill 2 remake. Well, yeah, remake. And it's PlayStation 5 exclusive, so I know some people are going to go nuts on that one, and not in the positive way,
Yeah, and it's interesting we aren't getting a Silent Hill 1 remake, which is weird because that's where my heart was, because I remember playing that and it took advantage of the console's limitations. Lots of fog, but it used the radio to track, and it was creepy and it was weird, and I really enjoyed that. And yeah, that game is essentially, I don't think beyond like maybe being on the PlayStation 3 store or being backwards compatible, I don't know a way to actually play that game. So I'm like curious, like, because I know that's what we got with the Resident Evil 2 remake. We didn't get a Resident Evil 1 remake because that was remade for GameCube. So it was kind of like a weird, like, it's an odd place to start, but I know that's a beloved game. But the fact that like some of the other iterations we're getting of like the Resident Evil games are all over the place. Like Annapurna's making a game, and then we're getting like a game that's supposed to be a live experience. So I'm like, I was just so crazy, just like, wow, they're really going broad with this after being so silent for all these years. So Dead Space makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, that's what we're having with the Callisto Protocol, which is essentially, well, we can't make that game because we no longer have the license and we got fired from it. We're making that game. We're getting the remake. So I don't know, Corey, is there a game? I know you're so tied in Nintendo, and sometimes they don't like appreciate their past.
Oh,
so
sometimes. No, the way they appreciate your past is selling you the same game on the next console for
full price,
more money. I mean, there's if you're talking strictly Nintendo, I mean, there's a lot you could do, and even like you could revisit something like Eternal Darkness if you want to stick with horror games, right? Like that seems to be the big one. And like I think with technology, the way technology works and everything, or you know, even like the quote unquote HD rumble and the Joy-Cons or something, like you could do some really interesting things with Eternal Darkness now that maybe you couldn't do. Yeah, you couldn't like delete a memory card or, you know, turn your TV off or mess with the volume or anything, but like you could totally do some really interesting things and still have the
Corey, how about your Joy-Cons are disconnected? That would be a great technology, right?
Yeah.
Or your SD card's going to be reformatted.
No, your Joy-Cons would just drift, and then you would be upset. But yeah, I mean, there's that. There's, I mean, Star Fox. A lot of people want that to come back. A lot of people want F-Zero to come back. They have a lot of franchises though that I know people want back, like Golden Sun, like an RPG, or what's the other one that everybody wants back? I mean, I guess people want Earthbound back for some reason.
Baten Kaitos, is that the other one?
Kaitos is another one. Although
Advance fucking Wars.
It's coming back, LeRon.
It's not coming back until war is ended, apparently.
Yeah, LeRon's very upset about. We don't talk about Advance Wars on this show because LeRon gets upset. So the thing is though is like, I don't really know because all the franchises I really like, they're back, right? Like we just got a new Ninja Turtles game. That was something like I would really love, like a AAA Ninja Turtles game is something that I would really want. You know, something.
I don't know. I don't know if I can say it's back until like they make another game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's supposedly a AAA Ninja Turtles game coming out next year, which we'll see. But
Charlie, Corey, you got that Platinum game, that Platinum Turtles game. So there you go.
We don't talk about that game. Although, if you want to buy it, it is super expensive because it's out of print, and everybody thinks they need to collect things that are out of print. So what was the other game I was gonna say? I got so sidetracked by Ninja. I think really a AAA game that needs to come back in a big way is Prince of Persia, and not in the typical Ubisoft open world, go to the station. Don't get me wrong, I love Assassin's Creed. It's one of my favorite franchises. Again, I know that's also very not internet friendly to say, but I think Prince of Persia, like a really focused Prince of Persia experience, would be really cool to see.
Yeah, we just do not know the status of that Prince of Persia remake because I was really excited for it.
I know, and that's the thing is like that trilogy is the one that people really love, and I guess people don't really care for Warrior Within, but the other two they like. So
yeah.
What about that Prince of Persia that was like the
Forgotten Sands?
It was like this after. Where's within that series?
The one for PS3 and Xbox 360. That one.
Yeah. I bought that on Steam.
I didn't think it was bad.
Are you talking about the cell shaded one or the one that
is
like
the cell shaded one?
Oh,
yeah.
Where you had you had the auto
one.
assist, right? You had the auto assist where the character would grab you, so you really would never die.
Yeah. Because they also made a game set in that original trilogy afterwards to tie into the Disney movie.
Oh.
Called The Forgotten Sands, and it was actually pretty good, but I think people were sour on the movie and didn't give the game a chance, and I think that's what kind of killed the franchise. But that game was actually pretty good. Kind of felt a little bit like Assassin's Creed, but Yeah, so that would be one that I would want to see. I don't know. I'm always kind of looking forward. I think there's franchises that I like Zelda, that are going to last forever, and I really love the nostalgia of that franchise. But like, I think Breath of the Wild is probably the best thing that could have happened to that franchise at this point. Just to change it up, because
if you say so.
You look at Ocarina of Time through Skyward Sword. It's essentially the same formula, right? I mean, I guess you could technically say A Link to the Past in there as well. They just 3D-ified Link to the Past, and as much as I love dungeons and running around the world and doing that, I like to see how things evolve, and
that's true. I agree with that.
Because like you look at the way like Assassin's Creed has evolved from that first game into like the Ezio trilogy. That trilogy of games is completely different. You look at 3, 4, and Rogue; those are completely different. To Unity and Syndicate are different, and now we have this open world trilogy, which is completely different. You know, I get that people love the old, but I think games just keep getting better, you know? And if they can find a new way to refresh old things, then let's do it, you know? And so that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, speaking of maybe franchises that are kind of being rebooted, but maybe still need another game or two before we see a real revival, LeRon, this is for you. I want to see Metroid really fully come back. I know it's coming. It's just that's what I wanted, because I missed out on that franchise. And oddly enough, Metroid Dread was my first Metroid game, again, because I jumped in it late and I loved it so much. I'm like, wow, I want to maybe, hopefully the Prime series, or at least the first one, will get remastered so I can catch myself up. I'll admit I haven't played the NES. I don't know if it's on SNES as well, Metroid OG stuff, because I'm not a good gamer, but I'll get to it.
Well, here's what you can do. Like, if you have access to a Game Boy Advance, play Metroid
Fusion.
Fusion. Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh,
Metroid,
Zero Mission.
Metroid Zero Mission. Yeah, Metroid Zero Mission. I don't know why I hear Zero Mission. I'm thinking something else.
Metroid Zero Mission is what? Is that a remake? Is that a remake?
It's a remake of the original Metroid from the NES.
And then it added that extra stuff at the end.
Yeah,
which is where the zero. That's why it's called the Zero Suit, because the
with
end
an
of
actual map, which the original Metroid did not have a map.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for real. Yeah. And then there's Super Metroid, which is the direct sequel. Actually, no, I'm sorry. You got Metroid 2: Samus Returns, so so just play Samus Returns for Nintendo DS, because that's
3DS. So
yeah,
that should be ported to Switch. Quite honestly,
I know. Like, what were they? I don't know why they haven't just started doing that.
That game begged for the controls of the Switch because it limited and had some gaps because of the.
Well, maybe you should have bought the new 2DS XL with the little thumb nub. And then you could have played.
Or could you get the boat, Corey? Could you get the boat that added?
I had a boat. I had the boat, and then I traded it in with my.
Stephanie, are you aware of what the boat is?
No.
Oh my god!
So the original 3DS lacked essentially an analog stick on the second stick. So they had this thing that actually locked on to the 3DS, which added that next analog stick, and everybody called it the boat.
Yeah,
it was just the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah,
because it didn't support many things except for maybe the Kid Icarus game.
It was Kid Icarus. It was the Resident Evil Revelations game that came out, and there was a Splinter Cell 3DS game at launch, and there was the Metal Gear Solid. Which one was it? Snake Eater, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was the remake for that. Yeah, which it was so weird. But it was like Nintendo they did not want to. They wanted to sell you a new console to add an extra control mechanism,
and it was expensive too. That thing was like $40.
That's why I did not move off of the DS until the 3DS XL came out. I refused. Number one, the fact that the whole 3D mechanic was stupid.
I think the only game that had the 3D stuff, then that was worthwhile. I think Super
3D
Mario
Land.
3D Land was pretty good. And I mean, Ocarina of Time stuff was okay, but I mean, 3D
Stephanie,
was...
do you have a PC?
No, I have a Mac.
Okay, so don't worry
Yeah.
about that. Because I was going to say what they've done with Metroid Prime on emulation now, that they've included like mouse controls, and I'm like, and the way it looks now with the high res texture packs, I'm like, if it doesn't look as good as that on Switch, that's going to be a missed opportunity. But that's where I think, Stephanie, I think that's really where, and I don't know what options you have to play old like Wii or GameCube games.
I have a Wii, but I
or
don't
Wii U.
kill
Do you
me,
have a Wii U?
Corey. I sold my GameCube. No, I have an N64. I had a Game Boy, Wii, Switch. I unfortunately had to pay some bills, so I sold a couple old consoles. Like I used to have a PS2.
There's probably not a cheap way to play the Metroid Prime trilogy, is there, Corey?
Well, if you own a Wii U, it's $20, but only for like another month or so. Because
But if you want to buy the disc, discs, I assume it's
the disc is the trilogy. The trilogy is like over $150 at this point.
And this is where I'm hoping that they'll remake it, or at least remake the first one. And then, like all the other games that I missed out on, I'll just be playing a prettier, easier to handle version of it. So
yeah,
that one, Metroid, is a big one. Another Nintendo one, I won't go too into it. Well, Nintendo / Rare would be Banjo-Kazooie. I just wish they could just redo that. I just like fun games.
Did you
like
play
that.
the Xbox version?
I did not, but I heard you can control the camera, and there's a couple of lifestyle changes to it. That's why I said, that's like a light option. I think the last one, I'm sorry, all these sound very more for kids or whatever, is Jak and Daxter.
That first one's really good.
Yes, right? And I feel like they could definitely make a comeback, especially after Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart,
Sly Cooper too. Sly Cooper was fun. Especially now, like I feel like they could do a lot of fun things with Sly Cooper. Especially because like PlayStation doesn't really have very many kid-friendly options. Like Sackboy is not exactly the greatest option. Sorry. But
yeah,
Yeah,
Jak and Daxter seems like it's a no-brainer because bring it up to snuff. I mean, you can play the I think you can play it on PlayStation Plus now, but I played it and it definitely feels dated, not in a good way, and it definitely needs to come back because it was so much fun. First one felt really good, and then they changed the series every time, made it a little bit more like GTA, which I enjoyed too, but I totally get it. But I think that's one that just definitely needs it, and it should be evergreen, like the old Ratchet and Clank, was it 2016, where they basically said, we're remaking the first game and making it awesome, so why not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, that's that was a time, man. The PS2, Xbox, GameCube era just was a wonderful time in standard definition gaming. Banjo's a really good one. I always forget that series exists, but then when I remember it, it's like, oh yeah, I love those games.
My son loved the Nuts and Bolts game because of the building.
Yeah, that game's...
And you can make all these. So kids, it's like they want to build things, and to make those vehicles that Banjo would go, and then half of them were like contraptions that just didn't work, or they were so funky, hilarious. So that's playable on Xbox One and Series X if you have those consoles, and it's a blast. Those are just a lot of fun, beautiful but different.
See, I think the thing is I think kids like that, and because they grew up as like the Minecraft generation, right?
Yeah.
And they like to build things. And
it wasn't for me, Corey.
Yeah.
No.
I liked it when I played it, but it definitely was not like, I was like, oh, this isn't really a Banjo game. This is just kind of like neat. Moving on. Man, I'm trying to think of other Microsoft franchises now because like there's so many that are just I'm not going to say brute force. Nobody wants that. Azure.
Crimson Skies, Corey, is always the correct answer.
Yeah. I feel like they're just going to shove that into Flight Simulator at some point, though.
That's true.
That's
true.
They already kind of tried with Top Gun.
Or they put what Banjo? Did they? What was the franchise they put in that Spark series?
Oh,
Was it
Conquer.
Conquer?
Yeah.
Conquer's never coming back.
Oh my gosh, no,
Conquer's
man.
never coming back.
No, that game. Ugh, that game in today's society, that game would never last. Microsoft had to shut its doors if they brought Conquer back. So. Yeah.
Why they don't like poop? They don't like puking protagonists. I mean, what is not to love?
I mean, I guess furries are big. That's catered to that crowd, right? With the girlfriend that does aerobics or whatever.
I mean, Rick and Morty is huge, so I mean, there is a group of people who like disgusting things.
That's true. But again, I feel like stuff like that, like Rick and Morty is in freaking Fortnite, so I feel like they're like, oh well, if we can just sell a skin in this popular game, we're not gonna make a real game, Man, good times, everybody. That was a great topic, Todd. Does anybody else have anything else they want to talk about real quick, or are we gonna wrap it there?
Did you guys see the development that's going down with the Helena Taylor and and Bayonetta 3 now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't like the site. I don't like to cite this guy, but I mean, Jason Schreier, like I mean, he brought some shit to light that it was like, hey, like what the hell's really going on? And and the one thing I will say, because you guys heard me say this on Foster's podcast as well as my own show Crossroads and stuff, I can't stand when people call for boycotts of video games. Because
we kind of discussed that on Powerblock too.
Nobody wins in that situation. As a matter of fact, the real losers are gamers when that shit happens. But like I knew something was kind of fishy about the fact that she was saying what she was saying, and now it seems like we're getting. I don't even know if it's a half truth that we're getting, because it's just getting messy. But the fact that Jason Schreier and then more credible sources are cited saying, yeah, this is not the full story here, I do appreciate that.
Video Games Chronicle came out and collaborated Jason's story too today.
Yeah.
Later tonight.
Yeah. My whole major thing is, because this is kind of what I want to when we mentioned it. What night was it? So was it Sunday? Because you guys are going to record Powerblock, and I think that's when it started getting big and
that's when the videos came out.
That's when the videos came out and everything, right? So there's things we have to look at, because I'm not saying that she's not talented or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. She is the voice. She's the pioneering voice for one of my favorite characters in video gaming. But my whole thing is under a microscope, you have voice actors and then you have voice actors. Like we have people like Nick Apostolides, who has been doing Leon Kennedy for a while, and not only is he providing the voices, but he's also doing all the motion capture and stuff like that. We have to look at how these voice actors are looked at. And $4,000 for a 4 to 5 hour session in the studio, and apparently it was supposed to be multiple sessions in the studio. Either she's playing us by saying, "Oh, they only want to pay me $4,000," when she meant to say is she would have wound up getting anywhere from $20,000 to $24,000 for the entire appearance in the game. There's that. But also, one thing I said to us in our separate chat was that if we're gonna be honest here, Bayonetta did not have a lot of speaking lines in the game.
And she's not doing that mocap either.
She's not. Yeah, I look at this lady and I'm like, yeah, she's not doing those dance moves. She's not walking in those high heels. Yeah.
I mean, she might be in her own time, but we don't.
But once again, right, LeRon, we've got a American replacing another person of British.
Yeah.
Because those Brits have replaced a lot of Americans, so maybe this is turnabout as fair play. Give Americans back roles.
And good on Jennifer Hale for saying her piece real fast and she immediately said I can't discuss much more because of NDAs and all this stuff, and thank you for getting ahead of that, because like, like of course, like the troglodytes on the internet were already like jumping after her. I'm like, y'all coming for Jennifer Hale?
Yeah.
Really?
So
That's like motherfuckers coming after Nolan North and Troy Baker. What the fuck?
yeah, like what we discussed on Pal Block the other night was like, so I found this. So if you look at her IMDb page and her Moby Games page, she hasn't really done a lot. Bayonetta is like her biggest thing, right? Like
she's been credited with roles from 1992 until now. And last night on Crossroads, I actually counted the line items. She's only done 24 things in the span of 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, am I wrong? Yeah, 30. Yeah, 30 years. She's
Yeah.
only done 24 roles.
Uh-huh.
So it sounds to me like
Jennifer Hale has done that in the last like 2 years or 3 years. You know? I mean,
yeah.
Look, no offense to Helen Taylor or whatever. Like she did a great job as Bayonetta, right? Like she's, but I brought this article. I'm trying to find it right now. To Pal Block the other day that said how much like an not like a beginning voice actress makes, but like
the average
kind of person that comes in. And
I saw that they make anywhere between 13,000 to like 13 to 60,000. Oh,
yeah,
crap.
and like depending on the role and stuff,
annual salary. Yeah,
and if you're like, and this is for like non-mocapped actresses either, right? Like it's like you make somewhere between like $12,000 and $20,000 per role, depending on how big the role is, how big, and if you're the title character or not, right? Like. Plus we took into consideration that like this is Nintendo we're talking about, who notoriously does not use voice acting, so maybe they don't know what or who or how, right? Like, and try not to place all the blame on Platinum, although Platinum probably has most of the blame here. And now the story comes out and it's like, well, exactly what we talked about on Nintendo Pal Block is exactly what she would have made if she was hired, not being the biggest name in voice acting and not mocapping, right?
According to ZipRecruiter, the industry averages for entry-level voice actors is anywhere between $13,500 to $31,999 per year. Mid-level voice actors gets range from $69,000 to $87,499 per year. And experienced voice actors, we're looking at $111.5 grand to almost $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much Chris Pratt got paid for being Mario. Probably $5 to $10 million.
Yeah. What is this place?
And I guarantee you, there are more talented people when it comes to voice acting than him. So it's a shame that it's not a livable wage for most people. It's something that unless you can be highly successful, like you said, the number of credits she has, and this is her claim to fame. So I think a lot of this was she was trying to say, hey, we've got a big game coming out. The game is. As the series has made about $450 million. This is me taking my shot that I'm going to renegotiate. And maybe Platinum's like, you know what? We'd rather have a higher profile voice talent. So we're going to lowball you and we're going to bring on Jennifer Hale. Cause I guarantee you they paid her at least 30 grand for this role. So this is a hot mess. If anything, this is
it is. I'm not saying Platinum Games is perfect on this. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm going to be on, but like if we want to,
they probably unfollowed you right now.
I'm
blocked you.
I mean, I'm not like the biggest Platinum Games fan either, right? Like I'm kind of over Hideki Kamiya. Like he's kind of just like he's kind of a dick. But
wait, stop. Hold on a second, because because you know what, I kind of empathize with him on one level.
No,
like
with this,
if you got people always coming at you in a foreign language that you don't speak fluently and stuff like that, I'd go on a blocking spree too, because I get followers on. I'm gonna sound bad right here on podcast. I get followers from other countries and stuff, and usually what I do is like I follow them, but I also mute them. So because like I can't freaking see whatever you're talking, so it does me no good.
I get it, but also I mean,
just assume positive intent, LeRon.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. This just seems like it's going to be a big cluster. Although, what does every marketing person say? All publicity is good publicity.
It's good publicity.
Bayonetta is on the map for a lot of people that maybe weren't going to pick it up, and now maybe somebody will buy it that wasn't going to buy it. So another thing too is like, maybe people don't know. I don't know. Bayonetta 3 has 3 playable characters. Bayonetta 2 was 10 to 12 hours long. Budget. So let's say that Bayonetta is in half the game. Okay. So you're getting paid for 6 hours of work. That's a lot of like,
see, that's the thing about it too. Like, I would jump for, I wouldn't even complain about $4,000 for the amount of work. Look, if she's not screaming like she's being tortured for like four fucking hours, what the hell,
I get it. Like, but if you've ever played a Bayonetta game, like she has, maybe 120, like maybe lines or whatever in the game that are like meaningful or useful. Then that's on probably the high end, I would say.
Yeah, you're right.
And she's not mocapping. She's not screaming. She's not yelling. In the parts they are, she's just like yelling somebody's name. Like, it's not like she's screaming a whole dialogue piece or something that would be in something like The Last of Us or God of War or Horizon. This is a stylized action game. That story is ridiculous. The acting is dumb and over the top, and it's about the gameplay. It's not, and so. Yeah, okay. If she lives in Los Angeles, I get it. $4,000, not a lot of money to live out there, right? But what bothers me is it just feels like it's somebody else not trying to work hard to get to the place where someone like Jennifer Hale is, who's been working.
Did you just Kim Kardashian her? Damn.
Yeah.
a lot of it comes down to agents, though. I bet she has better representation. Yeah. I mean, Jennifer Hale. It gets to the point where you get to see like people take up space when it comes to acting roles. At what point was The Rock was getting all these roles? Kevin Hart was getting all these roles. Ryan Reynolds was getting all those roles. Jim Carrey. And eventually it's like, when will other people get a chance? And that's the thing. I think Jennifer Hale is in everything. She's the most promising. For her to get another role ultimately says, well, that's like, the biggest actor just getting another role versus other actors again. And I looked at the voice talent for Bayonetta 2. There's some good actors in there. People that you may not realize who are voice talents have been doing it for years. So there's good talent. The one person I want to know if they brought him back was that Danny DeVito, Joe Pesci guy in Bayonetta 2, who dropped F-bombs all the time. I'm like, who is this guy and why is he even this game?
Yeah,
so
he's in it. I think he's back.
So I don't know. I like Bayonetta, and I like the series a lot. But yes, you don't come for the voice talent. But what they made with Bayonetta, she's a very iconic character. People cosplay as her, so I can get it where she feels like I've got a following, and I essentially helped create this character, and now she's gone. She's irrelevant. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah. And another thing I want to point out is like we gotta look at Bayonetta for what it is for a second. Like they made Bayonetta. Sega like wholly produced and published that game, right? Yeah. And then Sega was like, we're not doing anymore. Like Platinum had to like shop around for a new publisher for that. So like you got to put that in perspective too. If Sega, a company that knows about failure, like moved on, from it, like you got to think about that. Like she probably needs to realize that she probably wouldn't even had like the second gig, if Nintendo hadn't came along,
Well, Nintendo at that point, the Wii U, they're like, we want any game we can get on the Wii U.
Yeah, remember they
put
have
2 games a year that we bring out, and we need something.
They published Devil's Third. They published Ninja Gaiden 3. There's a lot of trash. There's a lot of third-party trash on that console. As much as I love the Wii U, and I think, in terms of Nintendo library, it's probably my favorite of any console any Nintendo's put out, I would say. But
and also Bayonetta, the original Bayonetta didn't sell well, and it was a multi-platform release.
350,000 copies.
Yeah,
it played like trash on PlayStation. It played like trash on PlayStation.
Hold. You know what? You're right about that because I did have it on PS3, and I remember it being a completely different experience when I played it on PC. And I was like, is this the same game?
Yeah.
I enjoyed Bayonetta on the PS3 though. Come on, don't smash
To be fair,
don't smash my dreams like that.
To be fair, back then we didn't know any better,
True.
So
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully, what I will say is hopefully this stuff gets ironed out and stuff like that. Like chances are, I don't know, like it's gonna get to the point where somebody's lawyers are gonna be like, okay, like you stop this shit or we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
Well, there's always a caveat. She can say $4,000. Oh, that was per session. So I feel like there's going to be an out clause.
I think that's what's about to come out. That's probably what's going to.
But she still broke NDA though, so she's probably still going to get in some. Like she's still probably going to have to fight something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if anything,
I just don't understand where this is all coming from, though.
Yeah.
I think it's a missed opportunity. And what do you always do when you see like big movies coming out? You always see people coming out of the woodwork and make lawsuits because that is the best time to make hay, to make money, to get people on the net. We have not heard about this woman and her role ever. She's on everybody's mouth now. So this is essentially this is publicity. Corey, you mentioned it. Any good news, is good for this. And ultimately, it's the right time to do it because why wouldn't you do it right before it's coming out? Nintendo, she's probably thinking, well, if I get this out there, Nintendo wants to tap this down because it's bad publicity for the game, Platinum 2. And Nintendo just doesn't give an F and could say, we could care less what you say. We just want you to buy our game. And we could care less. Yeah, that's not their forte to really actually address and say, we care what you think. We don't care what you think. You're going to buy our games. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. I feel bad, but the good thing that came out of the story is essentially we're talking about the salaries and people in gaming make. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, I hope we learn more about what's a fair wage and what's not. And when you talk about the wages and livable expense, if somebody says, I want to be a voice actor, and that's what they have to learn, like, hey, this person's like the main character, and she makes $20,000 a year, I'm not going to do that. That takes away your sales. Of like, that's not an opportunity. Yeah. And only the biggest people can actually make a living wage. Yeah. How long will it take until I get to be a notable person? Maybe 20 years. That's sad.
Yeah.
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 And, I'm not trying to say, like, $4,000 is like good, bad, indifferent. I'm just like, according to the guidelines that I saw on the internet, and this was updated in late 2021, right? Like, it seems like her career versus this guideline thing, she's making what she should. Now, granted, what they should be making should probably be way more in general, right? Like you guys just said, but like, I don't know. I have these weird mixed feelings about this.
I'm sorry. I'm not that sympathetic, given that I've seen a lot of behind the scenes for voice acting talent. They're sitting in a booth on a chair in a nice air conditioned environment. Like they're not. Unless they're getting paid to do like some outlandish ass voice, they're usually using their regular speaking voice. They're not even screaming because like microphone technology is amazing in this day and age. We have microphones right now hooked up to our computers that like a pin drops outside past my door, my microphone to pick it up. Stuff like that. So it's not like this is like backbreaking, like she's gonna wind up with nodes on her vocal cords. If anyone's seen freaking Pitch Perfect, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I sympathize, but I can't be your champion.
Same.
No, I'm sorry.
Same. Well, that seems like a good place to wrap this up.
I guarantee you, people are going to be listening to this show and they're going to be like, "Oh, LeRon is on one tonight."
No, look, Pal Block, Crossroads, and the show this week are all just our shows. We're just going to have to set fire to the whole thing. We're just going to have to
it's a fascinating topic for various reasons, and the reason why I haven't really said too much is because I haven't caught up on the latest, so I don't want to, speak out of ignorance or something. So I'm probably going to read more about it.
And also. One thing I can say to Helena Taylor, you're not the first person that's ever been replaced as voice talent. David Hayter was Solid Snake for decades, and then Kiefer Sutherland ran the role for the next two games.
Yeah, he grunted his way into the fifth game.
Yeah. Shoot, like we're gonna be looking at a time when Nolan North is not going to be Nathan Drake.
Yeah. Well, he's got an ongoing gig as the Ghost in Destiny. So as long as Destiny keeps going, Nolan North has a job. So
I mean, shit, he's the voice of Superman and Superboy in freaking Young Justice.
true.
I repeat, R.I.P. Peter Dinklage as the voice in Destiny.
I know, Dinklebot. Dinklebot, rip.
Oh,
Dinklebot.
Yeah, it's a yeah.
Okay.
I'll explain it to you later.
All right.
Yeah. He was the original voice of the Ghost in Destiny, and like his line delivery was so awful. Look up Peter Dinklage Ghost in Destiny on YouTube, and you'll hear some of the worst line deliveries you've ever heard in your life. It's just the funniest thing.
Okay.
But on that note, we're gonna wrap the show here. I want to thank everybody for watching and/or listening to the Boss Rush podcast. Todd, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure seeing you. Remind everybody where they can find you and what to listen to after they listen to this.
Yeah, you can find everything we do at secretfriendsunite.com. We're on YouTube. Look for Secret Friends Unite. Look at Secret Friends Unite, Secret Friends U on Twitter. We do a podcast on all things media. Secret Friends Unite. We call it Secret Friends Unite Prime. We do Code 47, which is all Star Trek. We do Holocron Chronicles, the Holochronicles, all things Star Wars, and co-op mode video games. You'll catch everything there. And we're always looking for new guests. People have fresh voices, things to say on the world of the nerd that they love. So if I think we've got some future guests that are on this podcast, but if other folks on within the Boss Rush Network fans would be interested, let us know.
Well, Todd, I think very highly of Secret Friends. So thank you again for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Stephanie, where can we find you?
People can find me on the internets at Klimov_author, Twitter and Instagram. My articles on bossrush.net, which I will be publishing a recap of the Silent Hill Transmission showcase before the night is out. And and you can find me in other podcasts like the XP Cast and After Dark.
LeRon.
All right. As always, if you want to look me up, just find me anywhere by looking up Exodus 803. So look me up on social media. My YouTube and Twitch channels are also under that moniker, as well as my PSN ID and my Steam ID. So just look me up there. Tuesday nights on my YouTube channel, 8 p.m. Eastern. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. New permanent time slot, hopefully. The Crossroads video game podcast, where we talk about PlayStation, PC, and Xbox, and a little bit more. Because we're kind of flexible like that. And of course, the Boss Rush podcast and Boss Rush After Dark. There you go.
And you can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me here on the Boss Rush podcast on Nintendo Power Block, and various other things here on the Boss Rush Network. You can follow the Boss Rush podcast at Boss Rush Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Check out all of our stuff on bossrush.net. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, LeRon. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
So long.
Bye.
I was sitting on my
Me
dad's
too.
lap watching TOS reruns, and
Yeah,
that's-
my dad
that's
was
how
that
I-
was my dad's thing too. So absolutely, on rerun TV. Yep,
Yep.
was doing that. Yeah. So
Yeah, no.
and we're both the same age, so it's good to see,
Awesome.
people in our advanced age still being interesting to talk to these young folks.
Yeah. Well, the major reason why I like Voyager more than TNG is because TNG is, in my opinion, a more boring series. It's a slow going series, and I say that knowing that there's the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Enterprise happened. Yeah, but I mean, TNG is a great series. But I mean, like I have Paramount Plus, and Paramount Plus has a dedicated Star Trek live TV channel, and they do 8 episodes of TNG, and I'm like, no. It's like, can we it's like, and why are they just doing TNG though? When they've got DS9, Voyager, they do Enterprise. As a matter of fact, I think they run Enterprise, they run TNG, Enterprise, Discovery, Lower Decks, and season 1 of Picard, which is not bad. But I'm like, you have all this other high def Star Trek out there. Why aren't you playing some of those as well?
Yeah, and DS9, I think, and Voyager and Enterprise are not HD, right?
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
Well, no, Enterprise is the first.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah, it was on that
1080.
tail end of the
Yeah.
when they started actually doing HD and had the content versus shot on video, and it just yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, like I appreciate the Next Generation. Like, I mean, Next Generation actually brought Star Trek back, which is great. Just like how Discovery brought Star Trek back for like this new era and stuff like that. I cherry pick the episodes I like from TNG, and so like it's one of those things where it's like if it's on, yeah, I'll watch it. But like I would just love to just get straight to DS9.
Boy, look what I started.
Yeah. Oh, Corey. Yeah. Well,
so wait, they ran you off because you don't like Voyager.
No. And I've been on there because we talked about we talked. They invited me on for talk about Star Trek 5.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that with Spock's brother, and that was fun. But we do talk about Trek on Secret Friends Unite, the all geek media show, and I've mentioned to my buddy Charlie, who's a big Star Trek nut, that I'm just not a big fan of Lower Decks, and he keeps pushing on me. I'm like, I don't like it. I've tried. Yeah.
Okay, now when Lower Decks first came on, I wasn't a big fan of it. Like, but I support it because it's Star Trek, so like I watched it. But now in season 3, I can definitely say like they are shifting more towards more serious Trek. I kind of feel like Star Trek Prodigy kind of made them like sit up and take notes a little bit more, because Prodigy is supposed to be the children's Star Trek, but you can look at Prodigy and tell like it's made for adults.
Well, I won't poke any more Star Trek bears, so
that's fine.
Oh no, like no, trust me, like. Unless you're about to say something like ridiculous, which I can't think of anything, because I'm not one of those Trekkies that go into blind rages just because somebody doesn't like like all of it or one part of it. I'm not one of those guys, and thank God I'm not easily triggered like the Star Wars fans are.
Oof. Yeah. So LeRon, if you are interested to be on that, I will toss your name over.
Yes, please.
Two main co-hosts, or it's 3 total, two additional co-hosts, and then when one of them is out, they obviously are looking for folks that bring new voices to Star Trek. So I will move you over to them. I'll make a recommendation. There's been a couple other folks that try to make recommendations. Sometimes I'm heard, sometimes I'm not. So
it's because they just like your hot take on Voyager. That's all.
Put Stephanie on co-op mode.
Stephanie, when are you free?
What?
Yes, when are you free? We do a video game show every 2 weeks.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Tuesdays and Thursday. Well, actually, it depends on the time, but if it's in the evening, I'm free most nights except for Wednesday.
Usually Mondays at 7:30, so right around this time. My co-host is a kid, and we usually have to do it once his kid's put to bed. So, yeah.
I got a kiddo, too, so that makes sense. Yeah, Monday night works. Ooh.
Mine is 16, so I don't have to put him to bed anymore. I just want him to go to bed eventually,
Oh.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, this is how it goes. Yeah. So,
thank you.
And then obviously, if anybody likes to talk about just geek media, that's what our Secret Friends Unite is all about. Everything but video games and cosplay. Those are the things we don't allow on that show.
I don't know. Isn't there another Lego game that
That's
Charlie
true.
could talk about?
That is the rarity, and and Star Trek Prodigy might be that game that just came out, might be Charlie's gateway into non-Lego games.
Oh no.
You know what? I'm not big on the Star Trek games. Like the last Star Trek game I played and took seriously was Star Trek Online. But
did you buy like the $120 lifetime pass or whatever that's called?
Oh God.
Okay, I pre-ordered it and I got the day one edition.
Bridge Crew is supposed to be pretty good though. Bridge Crew is supposed to be pretty good.
But I'm not big on VR.
You can do it without VR now. Yeah, they made it so people could be in VR or without, because they realized this is kind of a cool concept, but not everybody's going to bring VR to the table. So they did bring that out.
You telling me I can take them in my own starship without needing VR goggles?
I believe so. I'll have to look, but yeah. My favorite Star Trek game is Elite Force because I'm not a Voyager fan, but
Good
that's
one.
still my favorite game, which is funny. But yeah,
Nice.
Good one.
All right. Well, let's get started.
About to overheat now.
Uh-oh. That's good pre-show content right there, everybody. All right. Everybody ready? Everybody
Yes.
ready to game it up or not game it up or whatever?
Oh, hold on. I got some juicy video games I can talk about tonight, so
all right,
just get ready for this.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Wait, hold on. There's some feedback from someone.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Let me mute.
It went away.
Hold on. Let me turn off my NVIDIA broadcast because that is a problem for some reason.
Yeah, broadcast has been acting funny.
Yeah, let me turn that off on my mic, and then that's weird. It's off actually on my mic.
Well, it's
do
gone
this.
now. Whatever you did, it's gone.
Do you hear it now?
Nope.
Okay.
It just sounded like there was a fan on, and now it doesn't.
That was my computer.
Oh,
because my computer overheats.
Oh, okay.
So I turned on the NVIDIA broadcast now.
Oh, okay.
And hopefully that meets it.
Okay. Well. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.